Hello there, and welcome to the Sleeping Science channel. Tonight we'll drift through the grand architecture of the cosmos, a place where galaxies spin in silence and nebulas glow with the promise of new stars. It is a journey into the deep structures of the night, where gravity sculpts chaos into order and time moves with a patience that the busy world often forgets. Here, the immense scale of the universe becomes a source of comfort, reminding us that we are part of a vast, enduring rhythm that has been turning long before we arrived and will continue long after we sleep. Perhaps the day has been full of noise, or the demands of the hours have left your mind feeling crowded. That is natural, but for now, those demands can be set aside, left at the edge of this quiet space we are creating together. Let your shoulders rest. Let gravity hold you as securely as it holds the planets in their orbits. There is nothing you need to solve here, no distance you need to cross, and no urgency to understand. You are simply here to witness the slow, majestic unfolding of the sky, safe in the knowledge that the universe carries you effortlessly. Tonight, we'll drift through the quiet laws of galaxies and nebulas, exploring how the largest structures in existence are born from the smallest particles of dust and light. We will watch as great clouds of gas collapse to form suns, and how those suns gather into island universes that float in the dark. It is a story of connection, of how the iron in your blood and the calcium in your bones began in the heart of a distant star. You are not merely an observer of this story. You are made of the very stardust we will describe. If this calm space brings you peace, consider sharing it. It helps other wandering minds find their way here too. It is a simple gesture, like a signal traveling through the dark, helping others locate a place of rest. But for now, your only task is to listen, to let the words wash over you like a tide of starlight, and to allow your imagination to float upward into the velvet dark. The ground beneath you is stable, the air around you is still, and the journey we are about to take is one of gentle discovery. Now, let's begin. Imagine you are lying back on a grassy hill, the earth cool and solid beneath your spine, looking up into the deepest, clearest night you have ever seen. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of dew and ancient stone, and above you, the sky is not a flat ceiling, but a limitless depth. It is a vast ocean of indigo and black, scattered with points of light that do not flicker, but burn with a steady, ancient resolve, and silence follows. The darkness you see is not emptiness. It is a canvas of immense potential, waiting to be understood. When you look up, you are looking back in time, catching photons that have traveled for thousands, perhaps millions of years, just to reach your eye at this specific moment. Each point of light is a history lesson, a postcard, from an era when the universe was younger and perhaps more volatile. But from here, from the safety of this quiet hill, it appears perfectly still, a frozen tableau of beauty that invites you to rest your gaze and slow your breathing. As your eyes adjust to the dark, you begin to see that the stars are not scattered randomly, but are part of a colossal rotating structure. You are looking into the plane of the Milky Way, our own galactic home, a city of stars so vast that it takes light 100,000 years to cross it. It is a disk of light and dust, a spiral wheel turning with a slowness that defies human perception. You are not outside this wheel. You are embedded within it, riding one of its outer arms as it drifts through the cosmos. The galaxy is held together by gravity, the silent weaver of the cosmic web, an invisible force that binds every star and every cloud of gas into a coherent whole. Gravity is the gentle hand that prevents these billions of suns from drifting apart into the lonely void. It is a force of attraction, of bringing things together, creating a sense of belonging on a scale that is difficult to comprehend. Every star you see is tethered to the galactic center, dancing in a long, graceful orbit around a heart of immense density. And the orbit holds. Consider the space between the stars, the regions that appear dark to the naked eye. This is the interstellar medium, a tenuous mixture of gas and dust that acts as the reservoir for future creation. It is not empty space, but a thin, drifting fog of hydrogen and helium, enriched with heavier elements forged in the cores of long-dead stars. It is quiet here, in the spaces between the suns, where the temperature drops near absolute zero and particles move with a slow, languid drift, waiting for the nudge of gravity to call them into action. These clouds of interstellar dust are the nurseries of the universe, the nebulas where the seeds of light are sown. Imagine a cloud of gas, stretching for light years, a colossal sculpture of shadow and faint luminescence floating in the deep. It is composed of simple things: atoms of hydrogen, grains of silicate dust, traces of ice, yet together they form a structure of breathtaking complexity. These clouds are the wombs of the cosmos, silent and dark, hoarding the raw materials necessary to build new solar systems. Gravity, in its patient and relentless way, begins to act on these clouds. It finds the slightly denser pockets of gas, the areas where atoms are just a little closer together, and begins to pull. It is a slow gathering, a gentle compaction that takes millions of years to unfold. There is no rush in this process, no sudden movements, only the steady, inexorable draw of matter toward matter. The cloud begins to shrink, to fold in on itself, growing warmer as the pressure builds in its hidden core. And the rhythm continues. As the cloud collapses, it begins to spin, conserving the momentum of its particles as they draw closer to the center. It is like a skater pulling in their arms, turning faster and faster in the silence of space. This rotation flattens the cloud into a disk, a swirling plate of material that will eventually give rise to a star and its attendant planets. The chaos of the cloud is being organized, smoothed out by the laws of physics into a shape of perfect symmetry. Deep within the center of this collapsing cloud, the temperature rises, the atoms jostling against one another with increasing energy. It is a slow ignition, a building of potential that will eventually spark the fires of nuclear fusion. But for now, it is a protostar, a glowing ember swaddled in blankets of dust, hidden from the rest of the universe. It radiates a soft infrared heat, a quiet warmth that signals the beginning of a new chapter in the galactic story. This process is happening all around us, in the dark patches of the Milky Way that block the light of the stars behind them. The universe is not a finished painting, but a work in progress, a garden that is constantly planting and harvesting. For every star that fades, a new one is being assembled in the dark, a testament to the endless cycle of renewal that governs the cosmos. The death of the old feeds the birth of the new, a loop of creation that has no beginning and no end, and life adjusts once more. Let your mind expand outward from the individual nebula to the galaxy as a whole. Imagine the Milky Way not as a static band of light, but as a dynamic, living system. It has arms, great sweeping curves of density that spiral out from the center, where the gas is compressed and stars are born in clusters. These spiral arms are like waves moving through the ocean, patterns of higher density that travel through the disk, igniting star formation as they pass. The Sun, our own star, is currently drifting through a quiet spur between two of these major arms. We are in a calm eddy of the galactic river, moving at a speed of nearly 500,000 miles per hour, yet we feel no motion. The ride is perfectly smooth, a testament to the stability of the galactic orbit. We are passengers on a colossal vessel, protected by the magnetic fields and the atmosphere of our world, watching the universe scroll by in slow motion. Within the galaxy, there is a diversity of stars that rivals the diversity of life on Earth. There are massive, blue giants that burn with a furious intensity, consuming their fuel in a brief, brilliant flash of a few million years. There are sun-like stars, yellow and steady, providing the long-term stability needed for planets to evolve. And there are the red dwarfs, small and cool, glowing with a dim resolve that will outlast almost everything else in the cosmos. Each star has its own character, its own lifespan, and its own destiny, and the light drifts onward. The light from these stars travels outward in expanding spheres, carrying the signature of their composition across the void. When astronomers pass this light through a prism, they see a rainbow crossed with dark lines, a spectral fingerprint that reveals what the star is made of. We can detect hydrogen, helium, calcium, iron, the same elements that exist here on Earth. It is a profound realization that the stuff of the stars is the stuff of ourselves, that we are chemically connected to the distant lights we watch at night. Surrounding the visible disk of the galaxy is a vast, spherical halo of old stars and dark matter. This halo is the invisible scaffolding that holds the galaxy together, a massive cloud of unseen material that extends far beyond the luminous arms. Dark matter does not shine or reflect light. It interacts only through gravity, a silent ghost that provides the mass necessary to keep the rotating stars from flying off into intergalactic space. It is the bedrock of the universe, unseen but essential. In this halo, we find the globular clusters, ancient cities of stars packed tightly together in spheres of light. These clusters contain some of the oldest stars in the universe, relics from the time when the galaxy was first forming. They orbit the galactic center like satellites, preserving the chemical history of the early cosmos. To look at a globular cluster is to look at a fossil, a preserved moment from the dawn of structure, and silence follows. The center of the galaxy, thousands of light years away, is a place of mystery and intense activity. Here, the stars are packed closer, together, moving with greater speed around a supermassive object hidden in the dark. It is a region we cannot see directly with our eyes, obscured by thick lanes of dust, but radio telescopes reveal a chaotic, energetic environment. Yet, even here, gravity dictates order, orchestrating a complex dance around the central point of mass. This central point is a supermassive black hole, an object of such density that not even light can escape its pull. While the name suggests danger, in the context of the galaxy, it is simply an anchor. It sits at the heart of the spiral, a gravitational well that stabilizes the rotation of the inner galaxy. It does not wander, it waits, a silent monarch at the center of the turning wheel, influencing the motion of the stars closest to it. Moving outward from the center, the density of stars decreases, and the spiral structure becomes more defined. The arms are laced with pink and blue, the pink of hydrogen gas glowing under the ultraviolet light of new stars, and the blue of the massive hot stars themselves. It is a kaleidoscope of color that would be breathtaking if we could see it from above, a grand, spinning firework frozen in time. And the current flows without effort. The spaces between the spiral arms are not empty, but they are quieter, filled with older, cooler stars and less dense gas. It is a rhythm of density and rarefaction, a wave that propagates through the disk. As gas clouds enter a spiral arm, they are squeezed, triggering the collapse that leads to star formation. As the new stars emerge, they drift out of the arm, continuing their orbit around the galaxy. It is a continuous process of entering and leaving the zones of creation. Gravity is not just a force that pulls things down. Here, it is a force that builds. It pulls dust into pebbles, pebbles into rocks, rocks into planets. It clears the lanes of the solar system, creating the orderly spacing of the worlds we know. It is the architect that designs the structure of the void, ensuring that matter does not remain a uniform, boring haze, but clumps together to form complex, interesting objects. Think of the patience required for this construction. A single rotation of the galaxy takes hundreds of millions of years. Since the Sun was born, it has completed this journey only about 20 times. The timescales of the cosmos are so vast that they render our daily worries invisible. To the galaxy, a human lifetime is less than a blink, a fleeting moment in the long, slow history of starlight. This is not a cause for insignificance, but for relief. The universe does not demand speed from you, and everything rests in its place. There is a deep peace in understanding that the universe is governed by laws that do not change. The speed of light is constant, the force of gravity is reliable, the conservation of energy is absolute. These are the rules of the game, the stable foundation upon which the chaos of existence is built. In a world that often feels unpredictable, the physics of the stars offers a sanctuary of certainty. The light you see tonight left its source long ago, traveling through the empty reaches of space, passing through dust clouds and navigating gravitational fields, just to land on your retina. It is a physical connection, a touch across the void. The photon that strikes your eye ceases to exist, transferring its energy to you. In a very real sense, you are absorbing the universe, taking in the faint energy of distant suns and making it a part of your own awareness. This exchange of energy is a silent conversation that has been ongoing since the moment you opened your eyes to the sky. The light carries information about the temperature and age of the star, encoded in its color. When you look closely, you might notice that the stars are not all white. Some burn with a cool, ruddy orange, while others shine with a piercing diamond blue. These colors are the visual language of heat, telling us how, furiously, the star is burning its fuel. The blue stars are young and hot, living their lives at a frantic pace, while the red stars are often cooler, settling into a long, slow maturity that allows them to watch the galaxy evolve over eons. Consider our own sun, a yellow dwarf star, sitting comfortably in the middle of this stellar range. It is not the biggest nor the brightest, but it is steady, providing a constant, unwavering light that allows life to flourish. For billions of years, it has risen and set with a reliability that anchors the rhythm of our days. It burns hydrogen into helium with a patience that defines stability, converting mass into energy in a process so controlled that it feels less like a fire and more like a heartbeat. This steady pulse of light is the metronome of our solar system, keeping time for the planets as they trace their elliptical paths. And the rhythm continues. Surrounding our sun is the local neighborhood, a region of space where the stars are relatively close, at least in cosmic terms. The nearest neighbor, Proxima Centauri, is a small red star drifting just over 4 light-years away. It is close enough that if you could send a radio signal today, a reply would return in under a decade. These distances, while vast to us, are merely a stone's throw in the scale of the galaxy. We are part of a loose community of stars, drifting together through the Orion Arm, sharing the same general motion around the galactic center. Between these neighbors lies the quiet ocean of the interstellar medium. It is easy to think of space as empty, but it is actually filled with a tenuous atmosphere of particles and fields. There are streams of charged particles, magnetic field lines that twist and turn like invisible ribbons, and solitary atoms wandering through the dark. It is a rarefied environment, far thinner than any vacuum we can create on Earth, yet it is enough to transmit the shockwaves of distant events. Sound may not travel here, but influence does. The galaxy is a connected web where nothing truly happens in isolation, and silence follows. Drifting further out, we encounter the reflection nebulas, great clouds of dust that do not emit their own light, but shine by reflecting the starlight of nearby suns. They appear blue and ghostly in photographs, soft veils of illuminated smoke draped across the stars. This blue hue comes from the way the dust grains scatter the light, favoring the shorter, bluer wavelengths, much like our own sky does during the day. These are peaceful regions, cold and still, where the dust hangs suspended in the vacuum, painting the darkness with strokes of pale azure and silver. In contrast, the emission nebulas are factories of light. Here, massive young stars have just ignited, and their intense ultraviolet radiation is stripping electrons from the surrounding hydrogen gas. This process causes the gas to glow with a deep, rich red, the characteristic color of excited hydrogen. These are the great stellar nurseries, glowing like embers in the night, marking the places where the galaxy is actively building new systems. To see a red nebula is to see the universe in the act of creation, a visual testament to the fertility of the cosmos. And light drifts onward. There are also the dark nebulas, the ink spots of the sky. These are clouds of dust so thick and cold that they block the light of the stars behind them. They appear as silhouettes, holes in the starry field where the universe seems to vanish. But they are not holes. They are the densest concentrations of material, the places where gravity is working hardest to pull matter together. Inside these dark cocoons, shielded from the harsh radiation of the outside, molecules are forming. Water, ammonia, carbon monoxide, the complex chemistry that precedes the formation of planets. Gravity constantly balances against pressure in a delicate tug of war known as hydrostatic equilibrium. Every star you see is held up by this balance. gravity trying to crush the star inward, and the pressure of the nuclear fire pushing it outward. It is a stalemate that lasts for billions of years. The star does not collapse, and it does not explode. It simply exists in a state of perfect tension. This balance is what keeps the sun the same size day after day, a monument to the equilibrium of physical forces, and everything rests. Deep inside the core of a star, the pressure is immense, stripping atoms of their electrons and squeezing nuclei until they merge. This is fusion, the alchemist's dream realized on a cosmic scale. Hydrogen, the simplest and most abundant element, is pressed until it becomes helium, releasing a tiny packet of energy in the process. This energy must then make its way from the core to the surface, a journey that can take thousands of years. The photon bounces around inside the dense interior, absorbed and re-emitted countless times, slowly working its way toward freedom. When the energy finally reaches the surface, the photosphere, it is released as visible light, streaming out into the void to begin its long journey across space. The surface of the sun is a bubbling landscape of plasma, where hot granules rise, release their heat, and sink back down. It is a convection pot on a massive scale, a roiling ocean of fire that creates the light we see. Yet, from our distance, this turbulence merges into a single smooth disk, warm and golden. Surrounding the star is the corona, a tenuous aura of superheated plasma that extends millions of miles into space. It is visible only during a total eclipse, a pearly white crown that halos the blackened moon. From this corona flows the solar wind, a stream of charged particles that bathes the entire solar system. This wind creates a bubble around our sun, the heliosphere, which pushes back against the interstellar medium, creating a protective cavity in the galaxy where our planets reside. And the current flows without effort. As stars age, they undergo gentle transformations that reshape their surroundings. A sun-like star, nearing the end of its fuel, will not vanish violently. Instead, it will swell, its outer layers loosening their grip as the core contracts. It becomes a red giant, a vast, cool sphere of glowing gas that swallows the inner planets in a slow, silent expansion. This is not a moment of destruction, but of change, a necessary phase in the recycling of cosmic matter. Eventually, the outer layers of the red giant drift away entirely, forming a planetary nebula. Despite the name, these have nothing to do with planets. They are shells of ionized gas, glowing in vibrant shades of emerald oxygen and ruby hydrogen. They are often symmetrical, looking like hourglasses or rings floating in the deep. At the center of this colorful shroud lies the exposed core of the star, a white dwarf. This is the diamond heart of the sun, no longer fusing atoms, but glowing with stored thermal heat. The white dwarf is an object of incredible density, packing the mass of the sun into a volume the size of the Earth. It will cool slowly over billions of years, fading from white to yellow to red, and finally to black, becoming a silent cinder drifting in the dark. This is the quiet destiny of most stars, a peaceful fade into obscurity. The material it shed during its planetary nebula phase will mix with the interstellar clouds, enriching them with carbon and nitrogen, seeding the next generation of stars. With the ingredients for life, and stillness widens its reach. For the most massive stars, the cycle is faster and more dramatic, yet still governed by the same laws of balance. These giants burn through their hydrogen quickly, then move on to fusing heavier and heavier elements. Helium becomes carbon, carbon becomes neon, neon becomes oxygen, moving up the periodic table in concentric shells around the core. It is a factory of elements, forging the heavy atoms that make up the solid world we know. The process stops at iron. Iron is the ash of nuclear fusion. It cannot be fused to create energy. When the core turns to iron, the fire goes out, and gravity, patient and waiting, instantly wins the tug of war. The core collapses in a fraction of a second, rebounding in a shockwave that tears the star apart. We call this a supernova, but in the context of the galaxy, it is a seeding event. It creates a burst of light that can outshine the entire galaxy for a few weeks, scattering the heavy elements far and wide. Without these moments of release, the universe would consist only of hydrogen and helium. There would be no planets of rock, no water, no oxygen to breathe, and no iron to carry oxygen in blood. Every atom of gold in a ring, every atom of calcium in a tooth, was forged in the center of a massive star and released into the cosmos by this grand, final exhalation. We are intimately tied to these events. Our very existence is the result of the stars sharing their creation with the void, and the rhythm begins again. This dispersed material does not stay scattered forever. It drifts through the galaxy, mixing with the cold molecular clouds we visited earlier. The shockwaves from the supernova can even act as the trigger for new star formation, compressing nearby gas clouds and starting the collapse process anew. It is a continuous loop. Stars are born from dust. They forge elements. They release them back to the dust, and new stars are born from the enriched material. The galaxy is a breathing ecosystem, recycling its matter with perfect efficiency. Consider the spiral arms of the Milky Way again, seeing them now as waves of density that drive this cycle. As the arm sweeps through space, it gathers the gas, compresses it, and ignites the blue fires of new stars. These stars live and die, enriching the arm as it moves on. The galaxy is not just a structure, it is a process, a machine that converts simple gas into complex elements, using gravity and time as its tools. The timescales involved are soothing in their enormity. A star may live for 10 billion years. The galaxy has been turning for over 13 billion years. In the face of such duration, the concept of hurry loses its meaning. The universe takes exactly as much time as it needs. No more, no less. It does not rush the fusion of atoms, and it does not hasten the orbit of the planets. Everything unfolds at its own natural pace, a slow, majestic procession of cause and effect, and everything softens. Within this grand system, there is room for anomalies, for unique pairings and strange dances. Binary stars, for instance, are two suns locked in a mutual orbit, turning around a common center of gravity. They might be twins, or they might be vastly different. A blue giant paired with a tiny red dwarf. They circle one another in a cosmic waltz, sometimes close enough to touch and share material, sometimes distant and aloof. To stand on a planet orbiting a binary system would be to see two suns in the sky, a double dawn and a double dusk, casting two shadows on the ground. Gravity is the choreographer of these dances. It is precise and unforgiving, yet it allows for intricate beauty. It creates resonance where orbital periods lock together in simple ratios. It creates tidal forces, stretching and squeezing moons and planets, keeping their interiors warm. It is a force of connection, ensuring that every object in the universe is aware of the mass of every other object. You are pulled by the Earth, but you are also pulled, ever so slightly, by the moon, the sun, and the distant stars. Even the galaxies themselves are not isolated. They gather in groups and clusters, bound by their mutual gravity. The Milky Way is part of the local group, a collection of over 50 galaxies, including the Great Galaxy in Andromeda. We are moving toward Andromeda, and in billions of years, the two galaxies will meet. It will not be a collision in the destructive sense, but a merger, a slow, ghostly pass where the stars slip past one another, and the two spirals reshape themselves into a single, larger, elliptical galaxy, and silence follows. This future merger is already written in the laws of motion. It is a destiny of unity, a coming together of two great island universes. The night sky of that future Earth would look very different, filled with the bright core of the approaching galaxy, a milk-white haze growing larger with every passing eon. But for now, Andromeda is just a smudge of light in the constellation that bears its name, a distant partner in a dance that spans the history of the universe. Until then, the Milky Way continues its solitary rotation. The stars rise and set, the nebulas glow and fade, and the dust drifts in the silence between the worlds. It is a system of immense beauty and complexity, operating in perfect silence. There is no noise in space, no friction to grind the gears. It is a frictionless machine, coasting on the inertia of the Big Bang, guided by the curvature of space-time, sending paragraphs, 90 of 230, If you could pull your vision back even further, leaving the Milky Way behind, you would see that our galaxy is not floating alone in a featureless void. It is part of a vast glowing tapestry known as the cosmic web. This is the largest structure in the universe, a network of filaments made of dark matter and galaxies, stretching across the dark like strands of spun silk. The galaxies cling to these strands like pearls on a string, gathering in clusters where the filaments intersect. It is a structure of immense delicacy, a lace of light draped over the invisible contours of gravity. Between these luminous filaments lie the great cosmic voids, vast regions of space where very few galaxies exist. These are the quietest places in the universe, enormous bubbles of emptiness that span hundreds of millions of light years. In these deep voids, matter is incredibly sparse, a vacuum more perfect than anything we can imagine. Yet, even here, there is a potential, a faint presence of energy that permeates the dark. To drift through a cosmic void would be to experience the ultimate stillness, a silence so profound that it becomes a physical weight, holding you in a state of absolute rest. And the network endures. Gravity is the weaver of this web, pulling matter out of the voids and into the filaments, concentrating the universe into these glowing streams. It is a slow, billions-year-long process of drainage, where the empty spaces grow emptier and the crowded spaces grow brighter. This is not a chaotic collapse, but a graceful settling, like water flowing into riverbeds. The universe is organizing itself, sorting its contents into a structure that maximizes stability. From the chaos of the beginning, a beautiful, intricate order has emerged, a lattice of light standing against the dark. Traveling along these filaments, you might encounter a galaxy cluster, a swarm of hundreds or thousands of galaxies bound together. These are the largest distinct objects in the universe, massive families of stars, held in a common gravitational embrace. The space between the galaxies in a cluster is filled with a hot, thin gas, glowing in X-rays, a pervasive atmosphere that connects the individual members. It is a communal environment where galaxies interact, pass by one another, and share their gas, evolving together in a slow, cosmic ballet, and light drifts onward. In this vastness, light becomes a traveler with a long memory. The photons arriving at Earth from these distant clusters have been journeying since before the Earth existed. They carry the image of the universe as it was, not as it is. When you look at a galaxy 10 million light years away, you are seeing it as it was 10 million years ago. You are looking into the deep past, watching events that have long since concluded. The night sky is a time machine, allowing us to witness the history of creation simply by opening our eyes. There is a safety in this delay. The great upheavals of the cosmos, the collisions, the bursts of star formation, the energetic pulses are softened by the immense distance and the passage of time. By the time the light reaches us, it is no longer a roar, but a whisper. We are protected by the sheer scale of space, insulated from the raw power of the universe. We can watch the grand drama unfolds in silence, observing the fires of creation as gentle points of light, harmless and beautiful. And stillness travels through the water. Let us drift back inward, returning to the familiarity of the Milky Way, to explore the quiet life cycle of the smaller stars. Not every star dies in a supernova. In fact, the vast majority are red dwarfs, small, cool, and incredibly efficient. These stars sip their fuel with extreme frugality, burning so slowly that they can live for trillions of years. They are the tortoises of the stellar world, glowing with a steady, ruddy light that will outlast the current structure of the galaxy. Long after the bright blue giants have faded, the red dwarfs will still be shining. Because they are so dim, we cannot see them with the naked eye, yet they are the most common stars in the universe. They surround us in the dark, silent sentinels guarding the longevity of the cosmos. Their surfaces are cooler, often spotted with star spots, and their light is shifted toward the infrared, a warmth that is felt more than seen. Orbiting these stars, planets would be bathed in a perpetual twilight, a soft crimson day that never quite brightens into the harsh glare of a yellow sun. And the rhythm continues. Below the red dwarfs, there exists a class of objects that blur the line between star and planet, the brown dwarfs. These are the failed stars, bodies that formed from collapsing gas clouds but never gathered enough mass to ignite stable hydrogen fusion. They are warm, glowing with the heat of their own compression, but they do not burn. They drift through the galaxy like cooling embers, bridging the gap between the gas giants like Jupiter and the smallest true stars. They are the middle children of the cosmos, occupying a quiet niche of their own. The atmosphere of a brown dwarf is a complex, swirling ocean of gas with weather patterns that rival the great storms of Jupiter. In their cooling clouds, exotic rains may fall, droplets of molten iron or silicate sand descending through the dark skies. But there is no violence. In this image, only the physics of condensation. It is a heavy metallic weather, occurring in the privacy of the infrared dark, far from the illuminating reach of any sun. These worlds wrap themselves in thick blankets of clouds, holding onto their heat for eons, and everything rests. Now turn your attention to the rotation of the galaxy itself. It does not spin like a solid plate. The inner parts move at a different speed than the outer parts. This differential rotation is what winds the magnetic fields and creates the spiral structure. It is a fluid motion, like cream stirring into coffee, creating swirls and eddies that persist for millions of years. The stars move in and out of these spiral arms, caught in the traffic jams of gravity, then released back into the clearer spaces. The spiral arms are technically density waves, ripples of compression moving through the disk. Think of sound waves moving through air. The air molecules don't travel across the room, but the wave does. Similarly, the stars and gas clouds don't stay in the arm forever. They pass through it. As they enter the wave, they are squeezed. And this gentle pressure is the trigger for new stars to wake up. The spiral arms are the rhythm section of the galaxy, the beat that drives the tempo of creation. And silence follows. Closer to the center of the galaxy, the environment changes. We leave the graceful spiral arms and enter the galactic bulge, a spherical swarm of older stars. Here, the light is yellower, warmer, reflecting the advanced age of the inhabitants. The dust lanes thin out, and the stars are packed tighter, illuminating the space with a collective glow. If you lived on a planet here, the night sky would be ablaze with thousands of stars brighter than Sirius, a canopy of light so dense you could read by it. In this central region, the motions are more random. Instead of the orderly, flat rotation of the disk, the stars in the bulge swarm around the center in tilted, elliptical orbits, like bees around a hive. It is a chaotic but stable system, held in check by the deep gravity of the core. Despite the crowding, collisions are virtually impossible. The spaces between stars remain vast, ensuring that each sun retains its own sovereign territory, and the orbit holds. At the very heart of this swarm lies Sagittarius A, the supermassive black hole that anchors our galaxy. It is 4 million times the mass of the Sun, compressed into a space no larger than a solar system. It is invisible, a dark sphere wrapped in the glowing gas of the accretion disk. But it is not a monster. It is a dormant giant. Currently, it is quiet, feeding only on thin streams of gas, radiating a gentle hum of radio waves that astronomers listen to from Earth. Surrounding this dark heart is a small cluster of bright, massive stars that whip around it at incredible speeds. They are the attendants of the core, trapped in tight, fast orbits. We have watched them for decades, tracing their paths as they loop around the invisible center. They move with perfect precision, obeying Kepler's laws just as the planets do, proving that even in the most extreme environment, the calm logic of physics prevails. The black hole does not devour them. It simply swings them around, a heavy hand guiding their path, and life adjusts once more. Drifting outward from the core, perpendicular to the galactic disk, are the Fermi bubbles, colossal lobes of energetic particles expanding into the halo. They are invisible to our eyes, revealed only by gamma-ray telescopes. These are the echoes of a past event, a time when the central black hole was more active. They rise like vast, invisible plumes of steam, extending 25,000 light-years above and below the galaxy. They are ghostly remnants, a memory of energy dissipating into the halo, silent and ethereal. The galaxy also breathes through its magnetic fields. Invisible lines of force thread through the interstellar medium, guiding the motion of cosmic rays and shaping the gas clouds. These fields are weak, but over the vast distances of space, they exert a subtle control. They help to support the clouds against collapse, delaying star formation until the moment is right. They are the unseen tension in the fabric of the galaxy, a hidden network that adds resilience to the structure, and the current flows without effort. Let us return to the view from the edge, looking at the Milky Way not from above, but from the side. From this angle, the galaxy appears as a thin streak of light, bulging slightly at the center. Dividing this streak is a dark band, the Great Rift. This is a massive confluence of dust clouds blocking the starlight from the center. It looks like a tear in the sky, a river of shadow flowing through the field of stars. This dust is not merely an obstruction, it is a shield. It absorbs the harsh radiation from the active center, protecting the quiet suburbs where our sun resides. It re-radiates that energy as soft heat, warming the cold spaces. The Great Rift is a blanket, a layer of insulation that keeps the galactic environment stable. It reminds us that shadow is as important as light. Without the dust, the galaxy would be a different, harsher place. Imagine yourself drifting alongside this great wheel, watching it turn against the backdrop of the universal deep. You are weightless, suspended in the clarity of the void, watching the slow revolution of 100 billion suns. There is no sound, no wind, only the visual symphony of light and dark. You are a witness to the grandest motion in nature, a rotation so slow that it looks like stillness, and everything rests in its place. In this silence, consider the atoms that make up your own body. The hydrogen in the water of your cells is as old as the Big Bang, created in the first few minutes of the universe. The carbon in your DNA, the oxygen in your lungs, the iron in your blood, all of these were forged in the hearts of stars that lived and died long before the Earth was formed. You are not a stranger to this galaxy. You are its child, fashioned from its own substance. Return to consciousness to observe the source. This connection is not metaphor, it is physical fact. The iron that circulates in your veins, carrying oxygen to your brain, was once buried in the core of a dying star. When that star released its layers, it scattered this precious metal into the void, where it drifted for eons before becoming part of the cloud that formed our world. You are carrying the history of the cosmos inside you, a living museum of stellar alchemy. Every breath you take is a collaboration between the atmosphere of the Earth and the legacy of the stars. Think of the gold in a ring, or the heavy elements in the stones beneath your feet. These atoms are heavy and rare, forged only in the most energetic moments of a star's life, or the quiet collisions of neutron stars. They are travelers that have crossed vast distances of time and space to rest here, in this quiet moment. The universe has worked for billions of years to assemble the materials that make up your reality. There is a deep intention in this assembly, a slow gathering of ingredients to create complexity from simplicity, and the quiet holds. This realization brings a sense of profound belonging. You are not small in a way that implies insignificance. You are concentrated. You are a dense focus of universal history, a place where the cosmos has woken up to look at itself. The vastness above is not separating you from the stars. It is the medium that connects you to them. The space between is filled with fields and flows that touch both the distant sun and your own skin. You are woven into the fabric of the galaxy, inseparable from the grand design. Let us return our gaze to the immediate surroundings of our solar system. We are currently drifting through a region known as the local interstellar cloud, a wisp of warm hydrogen that we have been traversing for thousands of years. It is a gentle fog, so tenuous that it would count as a perfect vacuum in a laboratory, yet it is there. Our sun, with its protective bubble of solar wind, parts this cloud like a ship bowing through calm water. We are sailing through the galaxy, protected and steady, and the tide moves gently on. Beyond this local cloud lies the local bubble, a cavern in the interstellar medium, carved out by ancient supernovae millions of years ago. It is a clearer, emptier space, a quiet clearing in the galactic forest. We are drifting through this clearing, enjoying a period of relative calm in our galactic journey. The dust is less dense here, the view of the universe more transparent. It is a peaceful stretch of the road, a long, clear highway for our sun and its planets. The sun moves in a bobbing motion as it orbits the galactic center, rising above and dipping below the plane of the disk. This motion is like a horse on a carousel, a slow, rhythmic oscillation that takes millions of years to complete one cycle. As we rise above the plane, we are exposed to more of the intergalactic view. As we dip below, we are nestled deeper into the dust. It is a cosmic breathing pattern, a long, slow inhalation and exhalation of position, and silence follows. This journey is measured in galactic years. One galactic year is the time it takes for the Sun to complete one full orbit around the Milky Way, about 230 million Earth years. In this time scale, the dinosaurs lived and died within a single orbit. Mountains have risen and worn down to sand in the span of a partial turn. To the galaxy, the shifting of continents is a momentary adjustment, a brief settling of the crust as the wheel turns. We are currently about 20 galactic years old. The Sun has circled the center 20 times since its birth. In that time, it has seen the spiral arms sweep past, it has moved through different clouds, and it has witnessed the birth and death of countless sibling stars. Yet, it remains steady, a faithful guardian of the life that huddles close to its warmth. The stability of our star is a rare and precious gift in a universe of change, and still, it turns. Let your mind drift further out again, beyond the disk of the Milky Way, to our companions in the dark. Hovering nearby are the Magellanic Clouds, two small, irregular galaxies that orbit our own. They look like detached pieces of the Milky Way, smudges of light that have wandered off. They are satellite galaxies, faithful attendants that have accompanied us for billions of years. They are rich in gas and new stars, vibrant and chaotic, lacking the neat spiral structure of their larger parent. These clouds are connected to us by the Magellanic Stream, a long ribbon of gas that is being pulled from them by the gravity of the Milky Way. It is a bridge of hydrogen stretching across the void, a physical link between the galaxies. This is a gentle transfer of material, a sharing of resources that feeds the star formation in our own galaxy. Even in the isolation of the halo, there is exchange, a flow of substance from one body to another, and the rhythm continues. Further out still, we see the other shapes that galaxies can take. Not all are spirals like ours. Some are ellipticals, vast, football-shaped swarms of old red stars. These galaxies have little dust and gas left. They are finished with the frantic business of star formation. They are the retirees of the universe, glowing with a soft golden light, peaceful and settled. In an elliptical galaxy, the stars move in random directions, a hive of activity that sums to a perfect, motionless glow. Then there are the irregulars, galaxies with no defined shape, often distorted by the gravity of a neighbor. They are the abstract art of the cosmos, chaotic and beautiful, full of blue clusters and dark dust lanes. They remind us that order is not the only form of beauty. There is a loveliness in asymmetry, in the unique and unrepeatable shapes of chance. Each one is a unique response to the gravitational environment it lives in, and light drifts onward. And then there are the lenticulars, the lens-shaped galaxies that sit somewhere between spirals and ellipticals. They have a central bulge and a disk, but no spiral arms. They are smooth and featureless, like polished stones floating in the deep. They represent a transition, a state of quiet balance where the structure has simplified. They are silent disks, turning without the drama of density waves, holding their stars in a smooth, uninterrupted flow. Imagine looking at a patch of sky that appears completely empty to the naked eye. If you were to point a telescope there and leave the shutter open for hours, soaking up the faint photons, you would find thousands of galaxies. This is the lesson of the deep fields. There is no empty space. Every grain of dark sky hides a tapestry of island universes, each one containing billions of suns. The universe is crowded with light, layered deep into the distance, and wonder expands. These distant galaxies are red-shifted, their light stretched by the expansion of the universe. As space itself expands, it carries the galaxies away from us, like dots on a balloon being inflated. The farther away a galaxy is, the faster it is receding, and the redder its light appears. This is not a violent motion, but a stretching of the canvas. The galaxies are not moving. Through space, so much as space is growing between them, a gentle, universal opening. This expansion means that the universe is getting quieter, cooler, and darker over immense scales of time. But for now, and for eons to come, it is filled with the warmth of stars. The light from these distant galaxies travels for billions of years, crossing the great voids to reach us. It passes through gravitational lenses, massive clusters that bend space like a magnifying glass, warping and amplifying the image of what lies behind, and the orbit holds. Gravity, in this way, acts as a lens, bending light and allowing us to see further than we should. It is a helping hand, revealing the hidden depths of the cosmos. The universe provides the tools to understand it, if we are patient enough to look. The light curves around the mass, finding its way to the observer, connecting the most distant past with the present moment. It is a trajectory of information that cannot be stopped, only guided. Let us refocus on the dust itself, the humble grains of carbon and silicon that float between the stars. These grains are tiny, smaller than smoke particles, yet they are the key to the galaxy's beauty. They scatter blue light and absorb ultraviolet, protecting the molecules inside the clouds. Without dust, the universe would be a harsh, sterile place. The dust acts as a sunscreen, a shield, and a catalyst for chemistry. On the surface of these tiny grains, hydrogen atoms meet and bond to form hydrogen. Gas, the fuel of stars. Water molecules form on these surfaces, coating the dust in microscopic layers of ice. It is chemistry happening in the cold and dark, a silent assembly of the building blocks of oceans. The water in your glass began as ice on a dust grain floating in a nebula billions of years ago, and stillness travels through the water. These dust grains are often aligned by the galaxy's magnetic field, turning like tiny compass needles in the void. This alignment creates a subtle polarization of the starlight that passes through them, a hidden signal that reveals the magnetic skeleton of the galaxy. It is a level of order that exists on the microscopic scale, mirroring the grand order of the spiral arms. As above, so below. The laws of physics apply equally to the galaxy and the grain. Consider the pillars of creation, those famous towers of gas and dust in the Eagle Nebula. They are light years tall, sculptures carved by the intense ultraviolet light of nearby stars. The light boils away the thinner gas, leaving behind the denser pockets, creating these majestic, finger-like shapes. They look solid, like stone, but they are tenuous clouds. At the tips of these pillars, new stars are being uncovered, emerging from their rocky cocoons. This process is photoevaporation, light acting as a chisel. It is a gentle erosion, a slow revealing of what is hidden. The massive stars sculpt their environment, pushing back the dark clouds to create cavities and pillars. It is a landscape that changes over hundreds of thousands of years, a slow-motion shape-shifting driven by the pressure of light itself. Yes, light has pressure. It pushes against the dust, a gentle wind of photons, and everything softens. The concept of light pressure is delicate. A sunbeam feels weightless on your skin, but in the vacuum of space, over millions of years, that pressure can move mountains of gas. It is the force that forms the tails of comets, pushing the dust away from the sun. It is a reminder that even the most intangible things have influence. Light is not just illumination, it is a physical presence, a force that shapes the architecture of the sky. Deep in the heart of the Orion Nebula, visible to the naked eye as a fuzzy star in the hunter's sword, this drama is playing out. A cluster of 4 massive stars, the trapezium, is illuminating a cavern of gas, making it glow like a neon sign. These stars are young, only a few million years old, veritable infants in the stellar family. Their light is carving a bowl in the nebula, a glowing amphitheater where the story of creation is staged, and peace hums through the body. If you were floating inside such a nebula, the view would not be like the photographs. Our eyes are not sensitive enough to see the color in the dim light. Instead, you would see a world of delicate grays and pearly whites, a fog that glows from within. It would be brighter than the night sky, a luminous mist that obscures the stars. It would be the quietest place imaginable, a suspension in a cloud of potential, waiting for gravity to do its work. The silence of space is not an absence, but a presence. It is a canvas on which the light paints its masterpiece. Without the silence, the music of the spheres could not be heard. Without the dark, the light would have no meaning. The contrasts define the beauty. The galaxy is a study in these contrasts. Hot and cold, bright and dark, dense and empty, ancient and new. And the rhythm begins again. We are drifting through this study in contrasts, protected by the magnetic fields of our sun, warmed by its light, anchored by its gravity. We are travelers in a vessel that has never failed us, on a journey that has no destination other than to continue. The universe is not asking us to go anywhere. It is carrying us. We are being held in the arms of the galaxy, rotating slowly around a center we cannot see, in a dance that spans the eons. Within the shelter of these spiral arms, the process of world building begins. Around a newborn star, the leftover gas and dust form a flat, rotating disk. It is a protoplanetary disk, a dark halo surrounding the young sun. In this disk, the chaos of the nebula has settled into a smooth, spinning plane. It is a place of quiet collision, where dust grains gently bump into one another, sticking together to form larger clumps. It is not a violent smashing, but a soft accumulation, like snowflakes gathering on a window pane. Over millions of years, these clumps grow into pebbles, pebbles into boulders, and boulders into planetesimals. Gravity begins to take hold, sweeping up the material in its path. A growing planet acts like a vacuum, clearing a lane in the dusty disk. As it orbits, it gathers the debris, leaving a clean, dark track behind it. If you could see this from above, it would look like grooves in a vinyl record, concentric rings of order emerging from the dusty haze, and the quiet deepens. The temperature in this disk determines the destiny of the worlds. Close to the star, where it is hot, only rock and metal can remain solid. This is where the terrestrial planets are born, small, dense, and hard. Further out, past the frost line, it is cold enough for water and gases to freeze. Here, the giants form, gathering massive atmospheres of hydrogen and helium, growing into colossal spheres of gas and ice. The architecture of a solar system is dictated by this thermal gradient, a natural sorting of materials by the warmth of the star. Once formed, these planets do not always stay put. They can migrate, drifting inward or outward as they interact with the remaining gas in the disk. It is a slow, gravitational settling, a seeking of stability. The planets nudge one another, exchanging momentum until they find their comfortable resonances. It is a celestial negotiation, a balancing of forces that eventually results in the stable orbits we see today. The solar system is a settled agreement, a harmony, established after eons of adjustment, and life adjusts once more. In the sweet spot of this system lies the habitable zone, the Goldilocks region, where it is not too hot for water to boil away and not too cold for it to freeze. It is a narrow belt of perfect conditions. Earth floats here, suspended in the gentle warmth, allowing the oceans to remain liquid. This liquidity is the cradle of biology, a direct gift of our orbital distance. We are balanced on a knife edge of probability, kept safe by the precise geometry of our path around the sun. Far beyond the planets, in the deep freeze of the outer system, lies the Oort cloud. This is a vast, spherical shell of icy debris, the leftovers from the solar system's formation. It surrounds us like a distant cocoon, extending halfway to the nearest star. These are the sleeping comets. frozen time capsules that have remained unchanged for 4 billion years. They drift in the absolute dark, moving so slowly that they barely seem to move at all, held by the tenuous grip of the sun's distant gravity, and silence follows. Occasionally, a nudge from a passing star or the galactic tide sends one of these icy travelers falling inward. As a comet approaches the sun, it wakes up. The heat sublimates the ice, turning it directly into gas, creating a glowing coma and a long, sweeping tail. This tail always points away from the sun, pushed by the pressure of sunlight and the solar wind. It is a visible banner of the interaction between the star and the ice, a temporary streak of brilliance in the static sky. To watch a comet is to watch a slow-motion visitor from the dawn of time. It hangs in the sky for weeks, changing position night by night, a silent ghost passing through the planetary realm. It brings with it the pristine materials of the early nebula, delivering water and organics to the inner solar system. When it leaves, it fades back into the dark, returning to its long, lonely slumber in the deep freeze, and the light drifts onward. The debris left behind by comets creates the meteor showers we see on Earth. When our planet passes through a trail of dust, the tiny grains strike the atmosphere and burn up. A shooting star is a grain of cosmic sand ending its journey in a flash of light. It is a quiet intimacy, the atmosphere catching the dust, protecting the ground, turning stone into light. For a brief second, the invisible becomes visible, a scratch of luminescence against the dark. Look again at the band of the Milky Way, arching overhead like a bridge of smoke and diamonds. In many ancient cultures, this was seen as a river, the river of heaven. It flows without water, a stream of starlight that divides the sky. To lie back and trace its path is to align yourself with the galactic plane. You are seeing the collective light of billions of stars, so numerous that they merge into a single glow. It is the spine of the galaxy, the dense star-filled disk seen from within, and everything rests. Though the stars appear fixed in our lifetime, they are all in motion. The constellations are slowly drifting, reshaping themselves over hundreds of thousands of years. The Big Dipper will eventually bend, Orion's belt will loosen, but this change is so gradual that it offers the illusion of permanence. For us, and for generations before and after us, the sky remains a constant map. It is a reliable ceiling, a set of patterns that have guided navigators and dreamers for millennia. The Earth itself undergoes a slow wobble, like a spinning top losing momentum. This is the precession of the equinoxes, a cycle that takes 26,000 years. It means that the North Star changes over time. Today, it is Polaris. In the time of the pyramids, it was Thuban. In the distant future, it will be Vega. The axis of the Earth traces a slow circle in the sky, pointing to different guardians as the millennia pass. Even the definition of north is a part of the great cycle, and the rhythm continues. This wobble does not disturb the peace of the surface. It merely shifts the view. It is a reminder that everything is moving, rotating, and cycling. There is no static point in the universe. Stability is not the absence of motion, but the consistency of it. The Earth spins, orbits, and wobbles. The Sun orbits the galaxy. The galaxy moves through the local group. We are a nesting doll of motions, each one smooth and silent, carrying us through the void without a tremor. Consider the concept of a rogue planet, a world that has been ejected from its solar system and drifts alone through interstellar space. While this sounds lonely, imagine the peace of such a world. It is a place of eternal night, where the stars are bright and unblinkered by a local sun. If it retains a thick atmosphere and geothermal heat, it could remain warm, a dark, cozy incubator drifting in the silence. It is a world without days or years, existing in a timeless state of suspension, and silence follows. These wandering worlds are free from the gravitational tyranny of a star. They move through the galaxy on their own paths, passing through the nebulas and the clusters, silent observers of the deep. They remind us that a planet does not need a sun to exist. It only needs its own gravity to hold it together. They are the solitary monks of the cosmos, meditating in the dark, secure in their own completeness. The spaces they travel through are measured in light years. A light year is a measure of distance, but it is defined by time. The distance light travels in 1 year. It is about 6 trillion miles. When we say a star is 10 light years away, we are saying that its light takes 10 years to reach us. We are weaving time and space together, acknowledging that to look out is to look back. The universe is a map of the past, a history book written in photons, and the current flows without effort. The oldest light we can see is the cosmic microwave background. It is the afterglow of the Big Bang, a faint heat that permeates the entire universe. It comes from every direction, a uniform static that fills the sky. It is the wall of the universe, the point beyond which we cannot see. It is the light from when the cosmos was a hot, dense fog, finally clearing to let the photons fly free. It is the ultimate background, the canvas upon which all galaxies are painted. This ancient light has cooled over 13 billion years, stretching into the microwave spectrum. It is invisible to our eyes, but if we could see microwaves, the entire night sky would glow with a uniform brightness. We are bathed in this relic radiation, a gentle reminder of our fiery origins. It is the cooling ember of creation, a signal that the universe has expanded and settled into a state of structure and calm, and everything softens. Within this cooling universe, gravity continues its work. It gathers the gas into galaxies, the galaxies into clusters, and the clusters into walls. It is a force of assembly, constantly working against the expansion. In the spaces where gravity wins, we get structure, light, and life. In the spaces where expansion wins, we get the quiet voids. It is a balance between gathering and letting go, a tension that defines the shape of everything. Gravity is the reason you are sitting here, the reason the air hugs the earth, the reason the moon circles us. It is the embrace of the physical world. It is not a grabbing force, but a curvature of space, a gentle slope. That matter follows. You are sliding down the gravity well of the earth, held against the surface by the geometry of space itself. You are not trapped, you are cradled, and peace hums through the body. The moon, our closest celestial companion, is locked in a tidal embrace with the earth. It shows us only one face, keeping the other hidden in mystery. This is tidal locking, a synchronization of rotation and orbit caused by gravity's friction over billions of years. The moon has settled into a perfect rhythm with the earth, a partner that never looks away. Its pull creates the tides, the rising and falling of the oceans that mimics the breath of the planet. These tides are a connection between the rock of the moon and the water of the earth. The ocean bulges toward the moon, following it as it circles the sky. It is a planetary wave, a pulse that travels around the globe twice a day. The rhythm of the tides is one of the oldest rhythms on Earth, a heartbeat driven by orbital mechanics. It is a reminder that our world is fluid, responsive to the presence of its neighbor, and stillness travels through the water. Farther out, the gas giants have their own families of moons. Jupiter has over 80, a miniature solar system of its own. Some are icy, some are volcanic, some are covered in craters. They dance around the giant planet in intricate patterns, their orbits resonant and stable. They are worlds of their own, caught in the gravity of a failed star, playing out their own history in the cold light of the outer system. Saturn's rings are perhaps the most beautiful example of gravity's art. They are made of countless particles of ice and rock, ranging from grains of sand to the size of a house. They orbit in a perfect plane, incredibly thin and wide. They are not solid, but a river of particles, each one following its own path, yet moving together as a sheet. Ripples and waves move through the rings, caused by the gravity of small shepherd moons. And the rhythm begins again. These shepherd moons orbit within the gaps of the rings, their gravity keeping the particles in line. They herd the ice, maintaining the sharp edges and clear divisions. It is a delicate maintenance, a gentle guiding of the flock. The rings are a transient feature, likely formed from a destroyed moon, and will eventually fade. But for now, they are a spectacle of order, a halo of light that adorns the planet. The beauty of the universe often comes from these transient moments. A nebula lasts for a few million years, a ring system for 100 million, a star for 10 billion. On the scale of eternity, these are brief flourishes, but they are enough. The universe is not in a rush to finish its painting. It enjoys the process of creating and dissolving, of arranging matter into beautiful forms, and then letting them drift apart. This impermanence is not a flaw. It is the method of the cosmos. Structures gather, hold for a moment in the grand scheme of time, and then release their atoms back into the flow. It is a form of generosity. If the first generation of stars had not released their material, we would not be here. The universe must unravel itself to build itself anew. It is a constant reshuffling of the deck, ensuring that matter gets to experience every possible form, from the heart of a sun, to the ice of a comet, to the eye of a living being. Consider the journey of a single carbon atom. It may have been forged in the red giant phase of a dying star, brought to the surface by deep convection currents, and then puffed out into space in a gentle wind. It drifted in the cold for eons, eventually becoming part of a molecular cloud. There, it bonded with oxygen to form carbon monoxide, the most common molecule in the universe after hydrogen. It spun and vibrated in the dark, emitting a faint radio signal that astronomers on Earth can listen to, and everything rests. Eventually, this atom found its way into a protoplanetary disk, perhaps locking into a grain of dust. It survived the chaotic formation of a planet, buried deep in the rock. Volcanoes released it into the atmosphere, where it was caught by a raindrop and fell into a primordial ocean. From there, it entered the cycle of life, becoming part of a shell, a leaf, a breath. That single atom has traveled light years and crossed billions of years of history to be part of the present moment. The universe is rich with this kind of chemical complexity. In the dark clouds, between the stars, we have found alcohol, sugar, and simple amino acids floating freely in the vacuum. These are the precursors of biology, synthesized naturally by the interaction of starlight and ice. The ingredients for life are not rare. They are scattered throughout the galaxy, drifting in the vast, cold spaces, waiting for a warm world to welcome them. The cosmos is seeded with potential, a garden waiting to bloom, and life adjusts once more. There are stars dedicated to this seeding process, the carbon stars. These are red giants with atmospheres rich in soot. They are smoky, ruby-red suns that dust the galaxy with carbon compounds. They are the chimneys of the cosmos, puffing out the raw material for future organic chemistry. To look at a carbon star is to look at the source of the complexity that makes life possible. They are dim and cool, working quietly in the background to enrich the interstellar medium. The space between the stars is also filled with polycyclic, aromatic hydrocarbons, complex molecules that are essentially the same as the soot from a candle flame. They are everywhere, absorbing ultraviolet light and re-emitting it as infrared heat. The galaxy smells, faintly, of toasted bread or burnt sugar. It is a sensory detail that grounds the abstract void in something familiar. The universe is not just light and gravity. It is matter, texture, and scent diffused across the light years, and silence follows. This diffusion is aided by the cosmic rays, high-energy protons that zip through the galaxy at nearly the speed of light. They are the subatomic winds that stir the pot. They strike the dust grains, inducing chemical reactions that wouldn't happen otherwise. They are the invisible energy that keeps the chemistry of the clouds active. Though we cannot see them, they are a constant presence, a drizzle of energy raining down on every star and planet. Our own sun protects us from the bulk of these cosmic rays with its heliosphere. This is the magnetic bubble that the sun blows around itself, a shield that extends far beyond the orbit of Pluto. We live inside this bubble, a cozy pocket of reduced radiation. The edge of the heliosphere is the heliopause, the place where the solar wind finally dies down and merges with the interstellar medium. It is the true border of our solar system, the shoreline where the influence of our home star ends and the deep ocean of the galaxy begins, and the current flows without effort. Only two human-made objects have crossed this shoreline, the Voyager probes. They are silent ambassadors, drifting into the interstellar dark with their transmitters still humming faintly. They carry golden records, messages from Earth, though it is unlikely anyone will ever find them. Their true purpose now is simply to travel, to be the first pieces of human craftsmanship to enter the galactic realm. They are moving so fast, yet in the scale of the galaxy, they are stationary, drifting like messages in a bottle on a boundless sea. The silence these probes travel through is profound. The plasma density drops, the temperature shifts, and the wind changes direction. They are now sailing the interstellar breeze. They will drift among the stars for billions of years, long after our sun has swollen into a red giant. They are monuments to curiosity, tiny specks of metal carrying the memory of a blue planet, floating forever in the peace of the void, and stillness widens its reach. Even in the silence, there is a kind of sound. The plasma of space vibrates with waves, whistlers and choruses caused by the movement of electrons. If we convert these radio waves into sound, the universe sings. The planets hum, the sun roars, and the magnetic fields whistle. It is a spooky, ethereal music, the song of the electromagnetic spectrum. We are surrounded by this symphony, though our ears cannot hear it. The universe is vibrating with energy, a constant, resonant hum that underpins the visual stillness. This resonance is found in the orbits of the moons and planets, a gravitational harmony known as the music of the spheres. Neptune and Pluto are locked in a dance where for every 3 orbits Neptune makes, Pluto makes 2. The moons of Jupiter drift in a 1-2-4 rhythm. Gravity loves whole numbers. It settles systems into these repeating patterns, locking them into stability. It is a mathematical piece, a clockwork that keeps the system from descending into chaos, and the orbit holds. The stability of the solar system is a comfort. We can predict the position of the planets thousands of years into the future. We know exactly when the next eclipse will happen, down to the second. In a human life full of uncertainties, the sky offers a promise of predictability. The sun will rise, the moon will wax and wane, the seasons will turn. These cycles are the oldest truths we know, a rhythm that precedes us and anchors our sense of time. Let us look back to the variable stars, the ones that do not shine with a constant light. The Cepheid variables are stars that physically pulsate, swelling and shrinking like a breathing chest. As they expand, they cool and dim. As they contract, they heat up and brighten. This cycle can take days or weeks. To watch a Cepheid is to watch a star breathe, a rhythmic inhalation and exhalation of light that echoes the biological rhythms of life. And the rhythm continues. These breathing stars are the yardsticks of the universe. The rate at which they pulse is directly related to their true brightness. By timing the pulse, astronomers can calculate how far away the star is. They are the lighthouses that allow us to measure the size of the galaxy and the distance to our neighbors. It was by watching these stars that we first realized the universe extends beyond the Milky Way, that there are other island universes floating in the deep. The universe is expanding, carrying these galaxies away from us. This was discovered by measuring the light of distant Cepheids. It is a gentle, uniform expansion, happening everywhere at once. It means that the universe creates new space every moment. It is not expanding into anything. It is simply becoming more of itself. There is no edge to this expansion, no wall where the universe stops. It is a boundless unfolding, a flower opening forever, and light drifts onward. This expansion is driven by dark energy, a mysterious pressure that permeates the vacuum. We do not know what it is, but we know it is there, pushing the galaxies apart. It is a force of gentleness, effectively, ensuring that the universe does not collapse back in on itself. It guarantees that the cosmos will continue to grow, to widen, to become cooler and more spacious as the eons pass. It is the breath of the universe, a long, slow exhalation that creates the future. In this expanding space, light loses energy, shifting toward the red. It becomes tired light, weary from its journey across the megaparsecs. This redshift is how we know the universe is growing. The light from the most distant galaxies is shifted so far it becomes infrared, invisible to our eyes but warm to our instruments. We are bathed in this old, stretched light. The heat of the early universe thinned out by time, and silence follows. Imagine the view from a planet in a lonely galaxy at the edge of the visible universe. The sky there would look much like ours, filled with stars, a band of milky light, perhaps a moon or two. The beings there would look out and see a universe that seems centered on them. Every point in the cosmos feels like the center, because the expansion is happening everywhere. We are all at the center of our own observable universe, surrounded by the same horizon of time and light. There is a democracy in this physics. No galaxy is more important than another. No star is privileged. The laws of gravity, of light, of conservation apply equally in the Andromeda galaxy as they do in your living room. The universe is consistent. It does not play favorites. It offers the same stability and the same mystery to every observer, no matter where they are located in the vastness. And the quiet deepens. Let your attention settle on the concept of the event horizon, the boundary around a black hole. It is the point of no return, but it is also a horizon of silence. Anything that crosses it slips away from the observable universe, entering a region where time and space swap roles. To an outside observer, an object falling in would appear to slow down and fade, never quite crossing the line. It is a frozen image, a ghost lingering on the edge of the dark. This time, dilation happens everywhere, not just near black holes. Time passes slightly slower near the surface of the Earth than it does in orbit. Your feet are slightly younger than your head. Gravity curves time just as it curves space. The stronger the gravity, the slower the clock. The universe is not a fixed clock ticking at the same rate. It is a fluid flow of time that pulls and eddies around massive objects. And everything rests. This fluidity means that time is personal. It flows differently for the photon, for the star, for the astronaut, and for you. But within your own frame, it always feels natural. The universe adjusts to keep your experience consistent. You are moving through time at the speed of 1 second per second, a steady, comfortable pace that allows you to experience your life. The relativistic effects are there, but they are hidden, smooth, and silent. We are shielded from the extreme physics of the universe. We do not feel the expansion of space. We do not feel the warping of time. We do not feel the motion of the galaxy. We live in a bubble of calm where the physics of the everyday dominates. This is a mercy. We can understand the grand architecture with our minds, while our bodies rest in the simple, intuitive physics of the Earth, and peace hums through the body. The Earth itself is a spaceship, equipped with everything we need. It has a magnetic shield, an atmospheric blanket, a thermostat of oceans and clouds. It recycles its own air and water. It is a self-contained system, floating in the void, carrying a cargo of life. When you look at the stars, you are looking out from the bridge of this ship, witnessing the passing scenery of the galaxy. Consider the aurora, the northern and southern lights. This is the moment the sun touches the Earth. The charged particles of the solar wind strike the magnetic field, funneling down to the poles where they excite the atoms of the atmosphere. Oxygen glows green and red. Nitrogen glows blue and purple. It is a visual display of the invisible connection between the star and the planet. It is the sky dancing, a curtain of light waving in the silent wind of space, and the tide moves gently on. The aurora reminds us that the barrier between Earth and space is not a wall, but a membrane. It is permeable. Energy comes in, light comes in, dust comes in. We are an open system, constantly exchanging with the cosmos. The light you see in the aurora is the energy of the sun, transformed by the magnetic field, painted onto the canvas of the night. It is a sign that the machinery of the solar system is working, silently and beautifully. This silent light show of the aurora happens 70 miles above your head, in the thin upper atmosphere, where the air is close to a vacuum. It is a reminder that the sky is not empty, but filled with invisible rivers of particles and fields. We are bathed in the exhalations of the sun, connected to our star by these tenuous threads of magnetism and light. The universe is touching the atmosphere, painting it with the colors of physics, a soft, shimmering curtain drawn against the dark. Out beyond the solar system, the other stars are exhaling too. Massive stars drive powerful winds, blowing bubbles in the interstellar medium. These winds are not air, but streams of gas moving at millions of miles per hour. Yet, in the vastness of space, they would feel like a gentle pressure, a persistent breeze that clears the dust and shapes the nebulas. The galaxy is filled with these overlapping bubbles, a foam of voids carved by the breath of the suns, and the rhythm begins again. When a sun-like star reaches the very end of its life, it casts off its outer layers gently, like a flower releasing its petals. This is the planetary nebula phase, a moment of exquisite beauty that lasts for only a cosmic blink. The gas expands outward in glowing rings, illuminated by the dying core. These structures often look like eyes, or hourglasses, or butterflies, symmetrical shapes of glowing gas drifting into the dark. They are the ghosts of stars, colorful monuments to the light that once was. Shutterstock. Inside these nebulas, the elements created by the star are cooling and condensing. Carbon dust forms, diamond dust forms, silicates form. These are the seeds of future worlds, drifting away from their parent star to join the galactic reservoir. The death of the star is an act of seeding. It is gifting its substance to the future. The galaxy is a garden that fertilizes itself, a closed loop of creation where nothing is ever truly lost, only transformed, and everything softens. This dust drifts through the spiral arms, mixing with the clouds that are already there. It takes hundreds of millions of years for the material to travel across the galaxy. It is a slow, deliberate mixing, like cream swirling into coffee. The galaxy rotates, stirring its contents, ensuring that the heavy elements are distributed evenly. The gold in the ground here on Earth may have come from a star on the other side of the Milky Way, brought here by the slow churning of the galactic wheel. In the deep future, this process will slow down. The universe is gradually using up its fuel. The rate of star formation is decreasing, dropping slowly over the eons. We live in the stelliferous era, the age of stars. It is the bright, energetic youth of the universe. One day, far in the future, the lights will dim and the galaxy will settle into a long red twilight. But that is a destiny so distant that it holds no weight. It is simply the natural settling of energy, the universe finding its ultimate rest, and silence follows. For now, the sky is brilliant with activity. Every second, thousands of stars are born across the visible universe. Every second, thousands of supernovas flash in distant galaxies. We cannot see them all with our eyes, but we know they are there, a constant sparkle of creation and release. The universe is a busy place, but at this distance, it appears as a static field of peace. We are shielded by the scale, allowed to witness the grandeur without the noise. Think of the photons striking your retina now, or the ones that will strike it when you next look at the stars. They end their journey in your eye. You are the destination for that light. The universe has spent thousands of years sending that message, and you are the one to receive it. It is a personal connection. The star touches you. You are part of the circuit, the conscious observer that completes the loop of light, and the current flows without effort. There is a theory that the universe is observing itself through us. We are the eyes of the cosmos, the way the galaxy becomes aware of its own beauty. The atoms in your brain, forged in the stars, have arranged themselves in such a way that they can think about the stars. It is a beautiful symmetry. The universe builds a mind from stardust, and that mind looks back and marvels at the source. You are the universe knowing itself. This knowledge brings a deep sense of calm. You do not need to fight for your place in the world. You are made of the world. You fit into the universe perfectly because you were grown out of it. The gravity that holds you is the same gravity that holds the galaxy together. The chemistry of your body is the chemistry of the nebulas. There is no separation. You are a wave on the ocean of the cosmos, distinct for a moment, but always part of the water, and everything rests in its place. Let your focus return to the sensation of weight, of being held by the planet. This pull is constant. It does not waver. It is the embrace of the earth, holding you safe against the surface while it spins through the dark. You can let go of your own tension because the planet has you. You don't need to hold yourself up. The physics of the world are supporting you, just as they support the moon and the satellites. Imagine the Earth's shadow, a long cone of darkness stretching out into space behind the planet. When night falls, you are simply rotating into this shadow. You are entering the cool, protected space behind the world, shielded from the sun so that you can see the rest of the galaxy. Night is a window. Without the shadow, we would never know the stars existed. The darkness is a gift, a clearing of the glare that allows the deeper reality to be seen, and the quiet deepens. In this shadow, the air cools, the winds often die down, and the world grows quiet. It is a daily rhythm of rest, synchronized with the rotation of the sphere. Your body knows this rhythm. It responds to the fading light by preparing for sleep. It is a biological tide, rising and falling with the presence of the sun. You are tuned to the mechanics of the solar system, your internal clock set by the orbit of the planet. As you drift deeper into this quiet, remember that the galaxy outside is also drifting. The stars are floating in their orbits. The clouds are floating in the arms. The galaxies are floating in the web. Drifting is the natural state of things. There is no effort in an orbit. It is a free fall, a surrender to the curvature of space. To rest is to align yourself with this universal lack of effort, and still, it turns. The concept of empty space is misleading. Even the vacuum is filled with virtual particles popping in and out of existence in tiny fractions of a second. This is the quantum foam, the bubbling texture of space-time itself. At the smallest scale, the universe is a frothing ocean of energy. But at our scale, this averages out to a smooth, serene vacuum. We glide over the surface of this quantum ocean, supported by the deep laws of reality. Just as the ocean has depths, the universe has depths of time. We are looking into a well that is 13.8 billion years deep. The light from the bottom of that well is just reaching us. We are suspended in the present moment, the leading edge of time, riding the wave of the now. Behind us lies the entire history of the cosmos. Ahead of us lies the open future. But here, in this breath, everything is still, and stillness travels through the water. The light from the stars you see tonight will continue to travel past Earth, heading out into the intergalactic void. It will carry the image of our sun and our galaxy to whoever might be watching from the Andromeda Galaxy in 2 million years. We are broadcasting our presence simply by existing. The light reflects off the Earth, carrying the spectral signature of oxygen and water, a faint signal of life beaming out into the dark. This signal is weak, but it is there. We are a blue dot glowing in the black, a rare jewel of liquid water and green life. In all our searching, we have not yet found another world quite like this one. It makes the Earth precious, a sanctuary in the void. We are riding on a lifeboat that is perfectly equipped for us, a garden world drifting through a universe of fire and ice, and wonder expands. Deep in the nebulas, the protostars are still gathering mass. They are not yet shining, but they are warm. They represent the potential of the future. The universe is not done building. It is still pregnant with new suns, new planets, new possibilities. The story is not over. It is being written in the dust, chapter by slow chapter. We are part of the middle of the book, witnessing the peak of the galactic era. The dust grains in those clouds are coated in ice, water ice, methane ice, ammonia ice. They are tiny cryospheres, preserving the volatiles that make life possible. When a star forms, this ice evaporates and recondenses, eventually filling the oceans of new worlds. The water in your body has been through this cycle, frozen on a dust grain, melted in a magma ocean, evaporated into a cloud, fallen as rain. It is ancient water, cycled through the stars, and the rhythm continues. There is a comfort in this recycling. We are made of borrowed materials, on loan from the galaxy. We use them for a while, to build a body, to think a thought, to dream a dream, and then we return them to the cycle. It is a fluid exchange. We are open systems, constantly flowing with the universe. We breathe in the atmosphere, We drink the water, we absorb the light. We are permeable to the cosmos. Feel the air entering your lungs now. It is a mixture of nitrogen and oxygen, gases that were common in the nebula that formed the Earth. You are breathing the atmosphere of the planet, which is held down by gravity, which is generated by the mass of the rock. It is a chain of connection that links your breath to the core of the Earth and the formation of the solar system. Every breath is a planetary event, and everything rests. As we near the end of our journey through the stars, the scale begins to contract gently. We drift back from the edge of the visible universe, back from the filaments of the cosmic web, back from the halo of the Milky Way. We float inwards, past the spiral arms, past the Orion Nebula, past the Pleiades. We return to the quiet neighborhood of the sun, to the familiarity of the local sky. The stars here are the ones you know: Sirius, Vega, Betelgeuse. They are the friends that watch over the night. They are the steady lights that have guided sailors and soothed dreamers for thousands of years. They are still there, right where they should be, burning with their calm, nuclear patience. The sky is reliable. It holds its shape, and peace hums through the body. The journey through the galaxy is a journey through scale, but it always ends here, in the center of your own experience. The mind that can encompass the galaxy is also the mind that seeks rest. The vastness is not there to make you feel small. It is there to make you feel spacious. You have room to breathe. The universe is not crowded. There is space for you to be, space for you to drift, space for you to sleep. This spaciousness is a quality of the night. When the sun sets, the ceiling of the world is removed, and we are left with the infinite. It is a time for the mind to expand, to let go of the small details of the day and float in the wider current of existence. The concerns that felt heavy in the daylight often seem lighter under the stars, diminished by the perspective of the light years. The galaxy offers a silence big enough to absorb anything you need to release. Down here, on the surface, the nightlife of the planet continues. The crickets hum, the wind rustles the leaves, the ocean laps against the shore. These sounds are the local soundtrack to the galactic movie. They are the vibrations of the biosphere, a thin layer of life clinging to a rock that is drifting through the void. It is a fragile, beautiful arrangement, held together by the same forces that bind the nebulas. And silence follows. Gravity pulls the blanket of the atmosphere close around the Earth. It holds the air down so we can breathe easily. It holds the oceans in their basins. It holds you to your bed. It is the ultimate grounding force. You can trust it completely. It will not let go. You are securely fastened to this world, a passenger on a stable ship, sailing through the quiet seas of space. As the Earth turns, it carries you away from the sun, deeper into the shadow. This rotation is smooth and constant, a motion that has not faltered for 4.5 billion years. It is a momentum you can rely on. The sun will return, but for now, the time belongs to the shadow. It belongs to the silver light of the moon and the faint, ancient light of the Milky Way. And the tide moves gently on. Think of the atoms in your body again, those tiny travelers from the stars. They are currently arranged into the form of you, but they are not static. They are vibrating, exchanging energy, flowing in the river of your blood. Your body is a galaxy of cells, each one a complex system of chemistry and energy. You contain multitudes. The complexity within you mirrors the complexity above you. You are a microcosm, a small universe reflecting the large one. Inside your cells, the mitochondria, the power plants of biology, are working quietly, using oxygen to create energy. This is a form of combustion, a slow, controlled fire that keeps you warm. You are burning the fuel of the universe, radiating heat just as a star radiates light. In the infrared spectrum, you are glowing against the cool sheets, a biological star shining with the warmth of life. And the rhythm continues. This heat is a sign of your connection to the physical laws. Thermodynamics flows through you. Entropy flows through you. Gravity acts upon you. You are not separate from nature. You are a continuous part of it. The boundary between your skin and the air is just a transition zone, a place where the density changes. You are woven into the environment, resting in the fabric of the world. Your breathing slows as you settle. This is the body's way of syncing with the quiet of the night. The metabolic fire dims slightly, preserving energy, preparing for the restoration of sleep. Sleep is a biological necessity, but it is also a cosmic alignment. It is the time when we turn inward, shutting down the senses to the outside world, allowing the internal universe to reorganize itself, and everything softens. Just as the galaxy recycles its gas to form new stars, your body recycles its chemistry during sleep. It clears out the waste products, repairs the cells, and consolidates memory. It is a time of maintenance and renewal. You wake up different than you went to sleep. Just as the universe is different every moment, the flow of time changes us, softens us, prepares us for the next rotation. Allow your thoughts to drift like the dust in a nebula, loose, unconnected, floating freely. There is no need to organize them. Now, let them be a cloud, a haze of impressions and feelings. Gravity will sort them out eventually. For now, it is enough to just let them exist in the space of your mind, without force, without direction, and peace hums through the body. The image of the spiral galaxy is a helpful guide for this drifting. It is a shape of letting go, of arms unfurling from the center, relaxing outward. Imagine yourself uncoiling, releasing the tension in your center, allowing your awareness to spiral out into the dark. It is an expansion into rest, a widening of the circle until the edges blur and fade. The stars you imagined earlier, the blue giants, the red dwarfs, the yellow suns, are still there, burning in the silence. They do not need your attention to keep shining. They are the guardians of the background, the steady presence that allows you to close your eyes. The universe is holding the watch. You can resign from your post as the observer, and silence follows. The darkness behind your closed eyes is the same darkness that fills the space between the stars. It is not empty, it is restful. It is the color of sleep. When you close your eyes, you are joining the vast, quiet majority of the universe. You are entering the void, not as a stranger, but as a returning traveler. It is a place of infinite potential, a place where dreams are born, just as stars are born in the dark clouds. Feel the support of the bed beneath you. It is solid matter, atoms piled upon atoms, resisting gravity, enough to hold you up. It is the earth pushing back, a gentle force that says, I have you. You can sink into this support. You can let your muscles go slack, releasing the effort of holding yourself together. The physics of the world will do the work for you, and the quiet deepens. The journey we have taken tonight, from the heart of the galaxy to the dust of the nebulas, from the birth of stars to the iron in your blood, is a circle. We went out to the edge of understanding and returned to the center of being. We found that the vastness is not cold, but filled with connection. We found that we are made of the sky. Now, the story slows down. The images fade. The words become softer, spacing out like the galaxies in the deep voids. There is less to see, less to think, only the gentle sensation of existing. You are a point of awareness in a peaceful universe, drifting on the tide of time, and everything rests. The galaxy will continue to turn while you sleep. The stars will continue to fuse hydrogen. The planets will continue to orbit. The cosmic web will continue to hold the structure of the dark. Everything is in order. Everything is following the laws. There is nothing that needs your intervention. You are free to drift away, to let the current carry you into the deep, restorative silence. The light of the stars is a promise that the energy of the universe is inexhaustible. It will be there when you wake. The sun will rise again, bringing the morning. But for now, the night is your sanctuary. It is the time for the gentle observer to close their eyes and become part of the stillness. If your eyes remain open, another journey awaits. But if sleep arrives, you are already home.